Practicing the right thing at the right time is key to becoming a better player. Sometimes it's difficult to know what to practice. So many things out there that you can work on. Where do you start? Well, here's one thing that is kind of unique that will always give you new ideas, and it has to do with a book that's coming up. Hi, my name is David Wallerman. Welcome to this channel, which is all about helping guitar players like yourself find their voice on the instrument, develop it to tell their own musical story. That should give you a clue as to what you should practice. You should practice your storytelling. Telling a story that engages the listener. And there are multiple stories to be told in multiple genres, depending on the musical style you're into. Your choice of words is going to be a little different. If you're telling a story to a kid, you're going to have a different vocabulary than if you were telling a story to an audience that is fond of horror stories, for example, or whatever it is. There are different types of wording that you can use, but it's a story. Here's a book that I grabbed in my living room. Happens to be The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe from C.S. Lewis. It's a good book for this particular exercise because this is a fiction book. It's a story. We're just going to start reading from the very first page because the very first page is going to set the mood. It's going to bring the listener in just like a musical performance. You're not going to start your performance from the middle of the solo. It might not make sense. But here, we're just going to start reading. Once there were 4 children whose names were Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. Now, when I say a sentence, I'm not in a monotonous voice. I have different pitches going on. If I replace the words with pitches, when I'm talking to you, it might sound something like this. Ta-ta-ta-ta, ta-ka-ta-ta, ta-ka, ta-ka-ta-ta, ta-ka-ta, ta-ta. So there's rhythm and pitch. So I know you're probably wondering, what does that have to do with music? Well, now we're going to play that sentence on the guitar. When I said the sentence, I used a lot of different things that made that sentence my own, naturally. My rhythm, the rhythm flow that I used, my tone of voice, my excitement or non-excitement, all those things made me read that sentence recognizable. If one of you guys read that, it would sound a little different. I'll read it again. Once there were 4 children whose names were Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. We're not going to break that sentence into smaller chunks. It's going to make it easier for us to understand what's going on. Later, you can just read and play at the same time, and that's where interesting things happen. But here we go. I'm going to break that. The first section is going to be, once there were 4 children. Okay, easier to remember. Once there were 4 children. I'm going to concentrate on the rhythm here. Da, 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 da. Once there were 4 children. That's how I said it. You might have said it differently. I don't know. There are multiple ways to say it. You could just say it straight. Once there were 4 children. I like to say, once there were 4 children. Da, 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 da. Just rhythm-wise, if I play that on my instrument, I'm going to have something like this. Once there were 4 children. That's the rhythm we have. Now, when you're playing that, obviously you don't have to comp the rhythm exactly how you speak it, but it's just a guideline. Now, when I say a sentence, I'm not in a monotonous voice. I have different pitches going on. If I replace the words with pitches, when I'm talking to you, it might sound something like this. Ta-ta-ta-ta, ta-ka-ta-ta, ta-ka, ta-ka-ta-ta, ta-ka-ta. So there's rhythm and pitch. Now, it's important to realize that you don't have to use the same exact pitch that you would have when you're speaking. That's irrelevant. You can pick a key, a scale, it doesn't matter. Just keep in mind that you don't want to do a single note. That's going to be a little unmusical. We want to have pitch and rhythm. And really, rhythm is the most important thing. To add the pitches to the rhythm, we can take 2 different routes. We can go atonal, which is random notes that are not in the same key. So the rhythm was da, da, ga, da, da, ga. Once there were 4 children. Once there were 4 children. Something like that. That sounds kind of cool. Or you can select a scale that you like. Let's do A Dorian, for example. And just select notes from that scale. Once there were 4 children, for example. That works too. Either is okay. I really recommend that you do this exercise with any book you have. Fiction books are great. Kids books are even better because they rhyme and the sentences are shorter. It's an awesome musical development thing to do. I'm gonna play/read this for a little bit. I'll open the book, I'll play it, and hopefully you'll be able to follow along. Let's give that a try. Once there were 4 children whose names were Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. This story is about something that happened to them when they were sent away from London during the war because of the air raids. They were sent to the house of an old professor who lived in the heart of the country, 10 miles from the nearest railway station and 2 miles from the nearest post office. Playing something as you're reading it has its advantages. It's going to help your concentration. It's going to help you play in the moment and not overthink things, but you might be missing out on a few things. One other thing is when you're playing and reading at the same time, you don't really have time to pause and think about what you just played. And your ear doesn't necessarily have time to dissociate what you're reading with words and what you're hearing musically on the instrument. Those two things are sometimes disconnected. So I would encourage you to just take it a sentence at a time and play that sentence and then repeat it. So you read it once. Once there were 4 children whose names were Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. Once there were 4 children whose names were Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. And then repeat that sentence several times so that you get the number of syllables, the number of notes that you're going to play, and then extract from that some ideas. If I just take the beginning, once there were 4 children. I'm going to repeat just that. And so forth, and you're going to have some ideas that come because you have that guideline, the simple rhythm guideline extracted from that simple sentence. It's going to create some new ideas that are going to be the essential things that you need to practice. You might find new licks to develop. So, for example, if I have this, once there were 4 children. That idea is worth developing. You take that, you figure out which scale it's in. So in this case, I've got my minor pentatonic scale. That, I can associate that with that area of the fretboard, and I can try to reproduce that in other areas of the fretboard. And so forth, and try to create some patterns that are going to force you to work in areas of the fretboard that you're not used to. That's how you can improve. But it all starts with just a simple sentence or a book that you're reading. That's how you can create new ideas. It's a really cool way to do things because it's always new, especially if you grab a new page each time. Something will come out of it. Do this 10 minutes every day and you'll see where it brings you. And it's going to bring you to a different place than where I'm at, which is awesome because that's how you develop who you are. And that's what this channel is all about anyways, right? So I highly suggest you do that. Now, we did that with the guitar alone, but you can absolutely apply the same concept when you're jamming with a band or playing over a backing track, same exact thing. And I actually have 5 high-quality backing tracks for you guys with the charts and the recommended scale diagrams. You can get all that stuff for free by visiting the link below. Enter a valid email and I'll be sending you the backing tracks. And in addition, I will also send you a free course that is not available here on YouTube. That course is a course on playing over backing tracks and improving your phrasing in an unconventional way. So definitely check that out. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to this channel. I have about 3 videos coming every single week. They're free and they help guitar players like yourself find their voice, develop it to tell your own musical story. Nobody can say the way you say it on the instrument. This is your tool. You're the author. Tell your story. Thank you. I'll see you next time.